Imagine a cold morning in Jerusalem in the early 12th century. The narrow streets of the ancient city are just beginning to wake up, and in a small church, 9 knights have already gathered. Their armor, having seen many battles, glimmers dimly in the candlelight. These men do not yet know that soon they will create one of the most powerful and mysterious orders in human history, the Order of the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, known to us as the Knights Templar. The First Crusade ended with the capture of Jerusalem, but the roads to the Holy City remained deadly dangerous for pilgrims. Highwaymen, Saracen troops, and ruthless assassins lay in wait for travelers at every turn. Thousands of believers, eager to touch the sacred relics of Christianity, perished without ever reaching their destination. It was this problem that led to the formation of a small group of knights who vowed to protect the pilgrims. At the head of this group was the French knight Hugh de Payens, a man of humble origins but with remarkable charisma and organizational skills. Together with 8 companions, he made a vow of poverty, chastity, and obedience before the Patriarch of Jerusalem. King Baldwin II, ruler of the Kingdom of Jerusalem, granted the knights accommodation in the eastern wing of his palace, built on the site of the ancient Temple of Solomon. Few could have imagined that this small group of knight monks would become a powerful organization that would influence the destinies of kingdoms. The early years of the order were filled with deprivation and hardships. The knights genuinely lived in poverty, often sharing a single horse between 2. This detail would later be reflected in the famous seal of the order, which depicted 2 riders on 1 horse. A turning point in the history of the order came in 1129 at the Council of Troyes. It was here, thanks to the support of the influential Cistercian Abbé Bernard of Clairvaux, that the Templars received recognition from the Church. Bernard not only drafted a rule for the order based on the Cistercian regulations, but he also wrote the treatise In Praise of New Knighthood, which created the ideological foundation for the existence of the military monastic order. The Rule of the Templar Order was a unique document that combined monastic discipline with military organization. The knights were to wear simple clothing, a white cloak with a red cross that became their distinguishing mark. They were forbidden to hunt for pleasure, gamble, or associate with women. Even kissing their mothers was prohibited. The life of a Templar was strictly regulated by schedules of prayers and military training. It is astonishing how quickly a small order established a complex administrative system that spanned across Europe. Commanderies, as the local representations of the order were called, sprang up like mushrooms after rain. Each such establishment represented an autonomous fortress monastery where knight brothers, priests, and serving brothers lived. Here, stables, warehouses, workshops, and importantly, the treasury were also located. The structure of the order's management was impressive in its efficiency. At the top was the Grand Master, elected for life. However, his power was not absolute. Important decisions were made only after consultation with the chapter, composed of the order's higher officials. Each province was governed by a master who reported directly to the leadership in Jerusalem. Local commanders were responsible for economic activities and maintaining combat readiness of theirs. Special attention was paid to the communication system between the commanderies. The Templars created a true medieval postal service, where couriers, rotating at specially organized inns, could deliver a message from London to Jerusalem in record time. This system would later lay the foundation for the European postal service. A pivotal moment in the order's history came with the papal bull Omni Datum Optimum, issued by Pope Innocent II in 1139. This document transformed the Templars into an independent force within the Catholic Church. The order was exempt from all taxes and tithes, receiving the right to collect donations and build its own churches. Most importantly, the Templars were now subordinate only to the Pope, freeing them from the jurisdiction of local bishops and secular rulers. The privileged position of the order induced envy and discontent among many influential figures of the time. However, the Templars skillfully exploited their special status. They could freely cross any borders without paying duties, which made them ideal intermediaries in international trade. Their chapels and churches possessed the right of asylum, and the order's chaplains could grant absolution, a power that had previously belonged solely to bishops. One especially interesting privilege was conducting religious services in territories under interdict, a church ban. Imagine a medieval city where all churches are closed due to a conflict between the local ruler and the Pope, and only in the Templar chapel do services continue. This created a unique situation where the order could exert significant influence on the political situation in the region. Few know that the Templars established the first cashless payment system in Europe. Imagine a merchant preparing for a long journey. Instead of risking gold on the road, he could deposit his savings in the Templar commandery in his hometown, receiving in return an encrypted promissory note. Upon arrival at his destination, this note could be exchanged for the corresponding amount in the local commandery. The financial genius of the Templars manifested in the creation of a credit system. At a time when the Church strictly prohibited usury, the order found an elegant way to circumvent this ban. They did not charge interest on loans, but received voluntary donations and rights to manage the lands of debtors. Kings and nobility were eager to take loans from the order, which, unlike Jewish moneylenders, had military power and political influence. The sources of wealth for the order were numerous and varied. Donations from wealthy noble families wishing to atone for their sins constituted a significant portion of their income. Dying aristocrats often bequeathed lands and castles to the order. The Templars also generated income from agriculture, winemaking, and sheep farming. Their vineyards were renowned throughout Europe, and the wool from their sheep farms was highly valued in the markets. Trade with the East played a special role in accumulating wealth. The Templars controlled the most important ports in the Mediterranean through which exotic goods passed: spices, silks, and precious stones. Their fleet was one of the largest in the Mediterranean, and commercial caravans regularly traveled between Europe and the Levant. Moreover, the order enjoyed unique tax privileges, making their trade operations exceptionally profitable. By the early 14th century, the financial power of the order had reached incredible proportions. In their Paris headquarters were stored the royal treasury and the archives of France. The Templars acted as financial advisors to monarchs, managed their personal assets, and even collected taxes in some kingdoms. According to some estimates, the wealth of the order exceeded the fortunes of all European monarchs combined. The treasury of the order included not only gold and silver. In their vaults were priceless relics brought from the Holy Land, rare manuscripts, and works of art. Documents, promissory notes from kings and nobles, trade contracts, land grants held a special place. These papers granted the order enormous political power, perhaps even greater than their material wealth. The military power of the Templar order struck fear into both Christians and Muslims. Clad in heavy armor, the knights in white cloaks adorned with red crosses instilled terror in their opponents. Their battle cry, Bozun, named after the order's black and white banner, often became the last sound heard by enemies. The Templars never retreated first from the battlefield and did not pay ransom for captured brothers, preferring death to disgrace. The architectural legacy of the order continues to captivate the imagination even centuries later. Their castles, built with advanced engineering solutions for the time, became exemplars of fortification art. Croix de Chevalier, Chateau Pèlerin, Tortosa. These fortresses appeared impregnable to their contemporaries. A special system of tower placement, concentric walls, and ingenious traps for invaders were all results of the military experience accumulated by the Templars. The secret knowledge of the order invoked a reverential fear and gave rise to numerous legends. It was said that the Templars possessed secrets of ancient magic, studied Kabbalah and alchemy. Their libraries housed rare manuscripts brought from the East. Some sources claim that the Knights possessed maps of unknown lands and star atlases of astonishing precision. Their knowledge in medicine, mathematics, and astronomy was significantly ahead of its time. Holy relics occupy a special place in the history of the order. According to legends, the Templars kept parts of the life-giving cross, the Spear of Destiny, and even the Holy Grail. It is known for certain that they held numerous relics of saints and objects associated with the life of Christ. Each relic not only enhanced the spiritual authority of the order, but attracted flows of pilgrims, bringing significant income. The political influence of the Templars extended far beyond the Holy Land. The order's Grand Masters participated in the coronations of monarchs, acted as mediators in international conflicts, and influenced papal elections. Their counsel was highly valued at royal courts, and their spy network was considered one of the best in medieval Europe. Templars often knew events in distant lands before local rulers. The diplomatic skills of the order were also evident in their relations with the Muslim world. Despite their reputation as implacable warriors of Christ, the Templars maintained business contacts with Arab merchants and rulers. They studied Eastern languages and familiarized themselves with the achievements of Islamic science and culture. Some historians believe that these connections with the East later became one of the reasons for allegations of heresy. A fateful turn in the history of the Templars began with the fall of the last Christian strongholds in the Holy Land. In 1291, Acre fell, the last stronghold of the Crusaders in the Middle East. The Templars fought to the end, but even their legendary courage could not stop the Mamluks. Grand Master Guillaume de Nogaret was killed in battle, and the surviving knights were forced to relocate to Cyprus, which became their new headquarters. The loss of the Holy Land dealt a crushing blow to the order's reputation. What use were warriors of Christ if the Holy Sepulchre was again in the hands of infidels? This question echoed increasingly in European courts. The Templars attempted to organize a new crusade, but the political situation in Europe had changed. Kings were more interested in consolidating their own power than in distant holy wars. The situation became especially complicated in France, where King Philip IV the Fair faced a severe need for funds. His conflict with Pope Boniface VIII, constant wars, and poor financial management led the royal treasury to depletion. The Templars, with their immense wealth and independent status, appeared to be an ideal target for a king who had experience confiscating property from Jews and Lombard bankers. Friday, October 13th, 1307, became a dark day in the history of the order. At dawn, mass arrests of Templars began across France. Royal officials acted with astonishing coordination and secrecy. Grand Master Jacques de Molay and hundreds of knights were captured before they could put up any resistance. They were accused of horrific crimes of heresy, idolatry, and sodomy. The investigation was accompanied by brutal torture. Under intense heat from iron and the rack, many Templars confessed to the most incredible crimes. They allegedly worshipped a mysterious idol called Baphomet, spat on the cross during initiation, and practiced black magic. These confessions, obtained under duress, became the basis for the trial against the order, which lasted 7 long years. Pope Clement V, heavily influenced by the French king, initially tried to protect the order. However, political pressure proved too strong. In 1312, at the Council of Vienne, he issued the bull Vox in excelso, officially dissolving the Order of the Templars. All the property of the order was transferred to the Hospitallers, although much of it remained in the hands of the French crown. The tragic denouement occurred on March 18, 1314. On a small island in the middle of the Seine, where the Place Dauphine now stands in Paris, a scaffold was erected. The last Grand Master of the Templar Order, Jacques de Molay, and the preceptor of Normandy, Geoffroy de Charny, were sentenced to be burned at the stake. Crowds of Parisians gathered on the banks of the river to witness the end of an era. Legend has it that before his death, Jacques de Molay uttered a prophetic curse. He called on Pope Clement V and King Philip IV to appear before God's judgment within a year. Remarkably, both did indeed die within a year of the Grand Master's execution, the Pope a month later, and the King by the end of 1314. These coincidences gave rise to numerous mystical interpretations and legends about the secret revenge of the Templars. The fates of the ordinary members of the order varied. In most European countries, the trials against the Templars were significantly milder than in France. In England, Germany, and Castile, many knights were acquitted or sentenced to penance in monasteries. Some joined other orders, especially the Hospitallers, who inherited much of the Templar property. The mystery of the order's vanished treasures still stirs the minds of historians and adventurers. The night before the arrests, several wagons with unknown cargo left the Templar headquarters in Paris. The order's fleet in La Rochelle mysteriously disappeared, and its fate remains unknown. Many believe that the Templars managed to hide their wealth and secret archives in a safe place. The legacy of the Templars continues to live on in numerous legends and theories. Some researchers claim that the order did not completely vanish, but went underground, continuing to exist in the form of secret societies. Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and other esoteric organizations often assert their connection to the Templars. The symbols and rituals of the order can still be seen in the architecture, literature, and art of subsequent centuries. The history of the Knights Templar has left a profound mark on European culture. Their sudden fall became a symbol of the instability of earthly glory and power. The image of the Templar Knight, a noble warrior, guardian of ancient knowledge, continues to inspire writers, artists, and filmmakers. Even 7 centuries after the fateful Friday the 13th, the Order's mysteries continue to intrigue the imagination of people. One of the greatest mysteries of the Middle Ages is the sudden disappearance of the legendary treasures of the Templars. A day before the mass arrests, a convoy with mysterious cargo left the temple in Paris. 18 galleys that made up the Order's fleet at the port of La Rochelle weighed anchor and vanished into the depths of the sea. Where did the immense wealth accumulated over 2 centuries go? The most popular theory is linked to the evacuation of treasures to Scotland. At that time, Robert Bruce was excommunicated from the church and opposed to the English crown, making him a natural ally of the disgraced Templars. Many researchers point to Rustling Chapel, built by the Sinclair family, as a possible storage place for the treasures. Its whimsical architecture is full of Templar symbolism, and its underground chambers still hold secrets. The Portuguese connection is no less intriguing. King Denis I not only provided refuge to the Templars, but also helped them reorganize into the Order of Christ. There is a version that it was Templar knowledge and wealth that later allowed Portugal to become a great maritime power. Mysterious maps of unknown lands allegedly owned by the Order may have guided Portuguese navigators in their discoveries. Oak Island off the coast of Nova Scotia has attracted treasure seekers for decades. The complex system of underground tunnels discovered there resembles Templar engineering solutions. Some artifacts found on the island bear symbols associated with the order. Could the Templars have reached America a century and a half before Columbus? This question continues to provoke heated debates. Of particular interest are the testimonies about the order's secret archives. In addition to material wealth, the Templars possessed a vast collection of documents, ancient manuscripts, maps, coded texts. Some researchers believe that it was this knowledge, not gold, that was the main treasure the order sought to preserve. It is possible that some of these documents are still hidden in unknown caches. There is also a theory that the treasures were secretly distributed across a network of underground temples and chapels in France. Many point to the Languedoc region, especially to the enigmatic estate of Rennes-le-Château, where in the late 19th century, local priest Béranger Saunière unexpectedly acquired significant wealth after discovering certain ancient documents. The esoteric knowledge of the Templars presents a particular enigma. Their long stay in the East allowed them to become acquainted not only with Islamic science, but also with ancient mystical traditions. Their libraries housed works on alchemy, astrology, and Kabbalah. Some researchers believe that the Templars were the guardians of ancient wisdom, dating back to the Egyptian priests and the builders of Solomon's temple. The architecture of Templar churches often contains mysterious elements. Octagonal temples, like the Temple Church in London, were built according to principles of sacred geometry. The arrangement of windows and columns creates special light effects during the equinoxes and solstices. Mathematical and astronomical knowledge that was far ahead of its time is encoded in the carvings and ornaments. The connection between the Templars and alchemy merits special attention. Their holdings contained laboratories with unusual equipment. Documents indicate that the Knights conducted experiments with metals and minerals. It is possible that these pursuits became the source of legends about the Philosopher's Stone and the elixir of immortality. Some historians believe that the Templars made significant progress in practical chemistry and metallurgy. An intriguing chapter in the history of the order involves their relationships with the Cathars, a heretical movement that thrived in Languedoc. Many Templar commanderies were located in areas with strong Cathar influence. There are accounts of secret contacts between the two groups. When the crusade against the Cathars began, some Templars secretly aided the heretics in hiding from persecution. The role of the Templars in the events surrounding the fortress of Montségur, the last stronghold of the Cathars, is particularly captivating. According to some accounts, shortly before the fall of the fortress in 1244, 4 Cathars descended a sheer wall and carried away a mysterious treasure. There's speculation that they entrusted it to the Templars for safekeeping. What it was, a sacred relic, ancient manuscripts, or something else, remains a matter of debate. The Templar fleet deserves its own tale. In addition to well-known ports in the Mediterranean, the Order had secret harbors on the Atlantic coast. Their ships featured advanced designs and were capable of long voyages. There are indirect pieces of evidence indicating that the Templars reached the shores of America long before the official discovery of the continent. Particularly interesting are the maritime maps of the Order. Some of them, preserved in various archives, show remarkably accurate outlines of distant lands. On the map created by Templar Alberto Cantino in 1502, the coastline of Brazil is depicted several years before its official discovery. This has generated theories about the existence of ancient atlases owned by the Order, possibly inherited from Phoenician or Carthaginian navigators. After the official dissolution of the Order, many Templars either joined existing organizations or created new secret societies. One of the most notable successors was the Portuguese Order of Christ. Under this new name, the Templars not only maintained their influence but played a key role during the Age of Discovery. Prince Henry the Navigator, the Grand Master of the Order of Christ, used Templar knowledge and resources to organize maritime expeditions. The Scottish branch of the Templars became closely intertwined with the Masonic movement. Many researchers see a direct connection between the rituals of the higher degrees of Scottish Freemasonry and Templar initiations. The Order of the Temple, one of the higher degrees of Freemasonry, directly appeals to the legacy of the Templars. The symbolism of the Red Cross, the skull and crossbones, the mysterious Baphomet, all these elements transitioned into Masonic tradition. A substantial body of historical evidence exists regarding the Templars' secret influence on European politics after 1314. For instance, during the 100 Years' War, some military innovations of the English army remarkably resembled the tactics of the order. The emergence of new banking houses in Italy is also associated with the secret transfer of Templar financial technologies. The role of the Templars in the events of the English Revolution of the 17th century is particularly intriguing. Some historians find Templar traces in the creation of the Invisible College, the precursor to the Royal Society. Among its members were individuals interested in Hermetic philosophy and alchemy, fields traditionally linked to Templar heritage. The role of the Templars in preserving ancient knowledge deserves separate attention. Their archives contained the works of ancient philosophers, Arab mathematicians, and Jewish mystics. There is a theory suggesting that some of these documents were salvaged and secretly transmitted from generation to generation through a network of initiates. Some researchers connect the emergence of texts in Europe, such as the Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, with the activities of secret Templar groups. Today, there are many organizations claiming continuity with the Knights Templar. Some of them, like the Order of the Solar Temple, have gained a notorious reputation. Others, such as OSMTH, Order of the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, conduct legitimate activities focused on charity and the study of Templar history. New archaeological discoveries continue to shed light on the Order's mysteries. In 2019, underground tunnels of the Templar fortress in Acre were discovered in Israel, containing previously unknown artifacts. Modern technologies such as ground-penetrating radar and spectral analysis allow for the finding of hidden chambers in medieval constructions and the deciphering of ancient inscriptions. The image of the Templars has firmly entered popular culture, especially in the 20th and 21st centuries. Literature, cinema, and video games constantly revisit Templar themes. From Umberto Eco's Foucault's Pendulum to the Assassin's Creed game series, the Templars appear both as sinister conspirators and as noble protectors of ancient secrets. The order gained particular popularity after the release of Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, which sparked a wave of works about Templar treasures. The remaining structures of the Templars continue to attract researchers and tourists. The round church of the Temple in London, the castle of Tomar in Portugal, the fortress of Chateau Pèlerin in Israel. These and other buildings showcase the unique architectural style of the order. Hidden symbols and mathematical proportions in their construction are of particular interest. For example, in Rustling Chapel, researchers discovered encrypted musical notes in the stone carvings, referred to as frozen music. The banking innovations of the Templars had a long-term impact on the development of the global financial system. The principles of documentary transactions, double-entry bookkeeping, and letters of credit, all these tools, first utilized by the order, remain foundational to modern banking. Some researchers see parallels between the Templar system of commanderies and today's network of bank branches, the scientific achievements of the Templars continue to astonish researchers. Their knowledge in navigation, cartography, and medicine was significantly ahead of its time. For instance, the methods of treatment practiced in Templar hospitals were rediscovered by European medicine only centuries later. Their knowledge in construction mechanics allowed them to erect structures whose architectural principles still evoke admiration today. The Templar tradition had a profound influence on the development of Western esotericism. Rosicrucians, Martinists, and various occult orders incorporated elements of Templar heritage into their teachings. The symbol of two knights on one horse, the seal with the image of Baphomet, mysterious pentacles. All these Templar symbols became part of esoteric iconography. New technologies reveal unexpected aspects of Templar history. DNA analysis of remains from Templar burial sites, 3D modeling of lost structures, and the deciphering of ancient documents using artificial intelligence all allow for a fresh perspective on the history of the order. For instance, recent studies of subterranean structures in Acre have uncovered a complex system of tunnels connecting different parts of the city. The Templars revolutionized medieval military affairs. Their tactical innovations included the use of light cavalry alongside heavy infantry, the creation of rapid response mobile units, and the development of a system of signal towers for swift communication. Notably, their system for training warriors combined physical exercises with spiritual practices. The armor and weaponry of the Templars featured advanced technological solutions. They were the first to use layered armor that combined chainmail with plate elements. Their swords were made using Damascus steel, and the design of their shields allowed them to effectively deflect both cutting and stabbing blows. In the Order's hospitals, remarkably progressive methods of treatment were practiced. The Templars used antiseptics, understood the necessity of isolating patients with infectious diseases, and employed methods from Eastern medicine. Their medical treatises included descriptions of surgical procedures that European medicine would master only centuries later. Of particular interest are their understandings of psychological treatment. The Order's documents contain descriptions of methods reminiscent of modern psychotherapy. They understood the importance of mental states for physical health and used music, meditative practices, and special breathing exercises to treat various ailments. The educational system of the Templars was unique for its time. Besides military training, the Knights studied languages, mathematics, astronomy, and engineering. Commanderies had libraries that housed not only religious texts, but also scientific treatises collected from around the known world. Special attention was paid to language study. Templars were required to master Latin, Arabic, and often ancient Hebrew. A lesser-known chapter in the history of the Order is their role in international diplomacy. The Templars often acted as mediators in negotiations between Christian and Muslim rulers. Their commanderies served as neutral territories for conducting secret meetings. Some historians believe that the Order had secret agreements with the Assassins and other Muslim orders. In the field of exact sciences, the Templars achieved remarkable results. The engineering prowess of the Order was evident not only in castle construction. The Templars developed advanced water supply systems, including aqueducts and underground reservoirs with filtering systems. Their fortifications employed innovative ventilation and heating systems. For example, in the castle of Ponferrada in Spain, archaeologists discovered remnants of a heated floor system, the principle of which resembles modern underfloor heating. The commanderies of the Order were leading agricultural centers. The Templars implemented new irrigation methods brought from the East, experimented with crop rotation and plant selection. They were the first in Europe to use windmills for grain milling and mechanical wool processing systems. Their estates employed advanced winemaking and oil production methods. Templar blacksmiths possessed the secrets of high-quality steel production. Their arsenals produced weaponry that surpassed the quality of most European counterparts. Of particular interest are the Templar maps stood out for their exceptional accuracy in their time. They used a complex system of navigational calculations based on astronomical observations. In their archives were found descriptions of devices for measuring sea depth and determining a ship's position in the open ocean. Some researchers believe that the Templars possessed the secret to determining longitude, a problem that would officially be solved only in the 18th century. The order developed a complex system for encrypting messages. Templar ciphers utilized combinations of numerical and symbolic codes, some of which remain undeciphered to this day. They created an effective courier communication system that allowed information to be transmitted quickly between Templar castles. Remains of complex laboratories have been discovered. The acoustic properties of Templar churches are deserving of special mention. They employed specific architectural solutions to amplify certain sound frequencies. Researchers have found that the arrangement of columns and arches created unique resonance effects, possibly used for ritual purposes. The remarkable astronomical knowledge of the Templars continues to astound researchers. Their observatories used complex instruments to track the movements of planets and stars. Some of their astronomical tables show astonishing precision in predicting solar and lunar eclipses. The mathematical calculations of the order went far beyond the practical needs of construction. In the remaining documents, complex geometric constructions based on the principle of the golden ratio can be found. It is intriguing that the Templars utilized a numeral system with 0 long before it officially appeared in Europe.